Most people think a fuel station operates the same way at 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. Same pumps, same products, same layout. But night shift workers at these stations follow a completely different set of priorities once traffic drops and visibility shrinks. The logic that governs decisions after midnight isn't about customer service or sales optimization. It's about managing uncertainty when fewer eyes are watching and fewer people are around to verify what's normal. This isn't about crime or danger. It's about how isolation changes which problems you pay attention to and which ones you let slide. A fuel station at night operates in a state of selective attention. During the day, multiple staff members handle overlapping tasks. Someone's restocking shelves, someone's cleaning, someone's managing the register. Problems get noticed because more people are moving through the space. After midnight, it's usually one person, sometimes two. That changes what gets prioritized. The inside of the station matters less. Cleaning the bathroom can wait. Restocking the cooler can wait. What matters is the perimeter, the pumps, the lot, the edges of the property where lighting fades out. Night workers spend more time looking at screens than interacting with customers, not because they're distracted, because the camera feeds show them what's happening outside their sightline. A car sitting at pump 6 with no one inside, a vehicle circling the lot twice without stopping, someone standing near the air pump for 10 minutes without using it. These aren't necessarily problems, but they're anomalies. And anomalies at night get more attention than they would during the day because there's no crowd to blend into. The routine becomes: scan the lot, check the cameras, process transactions, scan again. Transactions themselves are faster. Customers at night don't browse. They know what they want. They pay and leave. The ones who linger stand out immediately, not because lingering is suspicious, but because it breaks the pattern. Fuel stations at night also operate with less inventory flexibility. If something runs out, it stays out until the morning delivery. That means workers have to make judgment calls about what to prioritize when restocking between rushes. Coffee gets priority. Certain snack items, anything that sells consistently to late-night truckers and highway drivers. Decorative items, seasonal products, or low-margin goods get ignored. The environment itself is designed around visibility, but it only works if you're actively using it. Bright overhead lights make the station visible from the road, but they also create harsh shadows at the edges. Workers learn which angles are blind spots and which areas require them to step outside to check properly. Silence is another factor. During the day, there's constant noise, conversations, music, traffic. At night, every sound is distinct. A car door closing, footsteps on pavement, the hum of a refrigerator unit. Workers unconsciously track these sounds as a way of knowing what's happening without looking. Night shift workers at fuel stations make dozens of micro-decisions that don't exist during daytime operations. One of the most common: whether to unlock the door for someone after the station switches to pay at pump only. Some stations go cashier only at midnight. You can still pump gas, but the door to the shop locks. Customers have to pay through a small window or a pass-through drawer. This removes the decision entirely, but many stations stay fully open. That means the worker has to evaluate every person who walks toward the door. Most of the time, it's routine. Someone needs to use the bathroom. Someone wants coffee. Someone's buying cigarettes. But occasionally, someone approaches who doesn't fit the pattern. They're not dressed for travel. They're not carrying a wallet. They're moving too slowly or too quickly. The decision isn't whether they're dangerous. The decision is whether engaging with them creates more unpredictability than ignoring them. Sometimes workers will unlock the door and stay positioned near the register. Sometimes they'll point to the pay at pump sign and avoid the interaction entirely. This isn't about profiling. It's about managing variables when you're alone and help is minutes away, not seconds. Another decision: how long to let someone sit in the lot without pumping gas. During the day, this isn't a problem. People take phone calls in the lot. They eat food. They wait for passengers. At night, a car sitting idle becomes something the worker has to track. Is it broken down? Is the driver asleep? Are they waiting for someone else to arrive? Most workers won't approach the vehicle. Instead, they'll watch the cameras. If the person inside notices they're being observed and leaves, that's often enough. If they stay, the worker has to decide whether to call a non-emergency line or just keep monitoring. There's also the decision about when to shut down certain systems for cleaning or maintenance. Daytime workers can clean the coffee station during a slow period, and it'll only affect a handful of customers. At night, shutting down the coffee station might mean losing the only consistent traffic you'll get for the next 2 hours. So workers delay it, or they clean it in stages, or they skip it entirely and let the morning shift handle it. Fuel delivery creates its own decision pressure. Tanker trucks often arrive between midnight and 4 a.m. The worker has to stop everything, go outside, and monitor the delivery. That means the inside is unattended. The register is unattended. If a customer shows up during those 15 minutes, the worker has to split their attention between the tanker, the customer, and the cameras. Some workers will pause the transaction and ask the customer to wait. Others will try to handle both simultaneously. Others will wave off the customer entirely and point to a different station down the road. There's no policy for this. It's judgment. Workers also decide how much to engage with regulars. Truck drivers on fixed routes, night shift workers from nearby factories, taxi drivers refueling between fares. These people show up at the same time every night. Daytime workers build rapport through conversation. Night workers build it through recognition. A nod, a quick transaction, not interrupting their routine. Regulars expect efficiency, not friendliness. If you slow them down, they'll go somewhere else. Night workers at fuel stations follow rules that are never mentioned in training. 1. Don't leave the building unless you've told someone. This doesn't mean calling a manager. It means texting a coworker, posting in a group chat, leaving a note, anything that creates a timestamp. If you step outside to check on something and don't come back, someone needs to know when you left. 2. If a vehicle parks in a way that blocks the camera's view of the pumps, you go outside and reposition yourself where you can see. This isn't about confrontation. It's about making your presence visible. Most of the time, the vehicle will move on its own. If it doesn't, you've already established that you're watching. 3. Cash transactions over a certain amount don't happen after midnight. The exact amount varies, but the principle is consistent. If someone wants to pay for $200 worth of fuel in cash, you tell them the system only allows a certain amount per transaction. You make them split it up, or you suggest a card. This isn't a real policy. It's a way of adding friction to transactions that feel off. 4. You never tell a customer you're alone, even if it's obvious, even if they ask directly. You refer to we or the team or my coworker in the back. You never confirm that no one else is there. 5. If someone asks to use your phone, the answer is always no. You can offer to make a call for them. You can direct them to a payphone if one exists, but you don't hand over your phone. It creates a situation where you lose a tool and gain an obligation to interact longer than necessary. 6. You don't chase anyone. If someone drives off without paying, you note the plate, the time, and the pump number. You file the report. You don't follow them. You don't block them in. You let them go. The fuel costs less than the risk. 7. The bathroom gets checked every hour, but only when there are other customers in the lot. You don't go into a back room or a bathroom when the lot is empty. You wait until someone's pumping gas or another car is visible. This way, if something happens inside, someone's nearby. These rules aren't written down because they sound paranoid in daylight, but at night, they're just standard procedure. When night workers follow these patterns, the station runs smoothly. Transactions are fast. Problems are noticed early. Uncertainty is managed before it becomes a situation. When routines get ignored, small problems compound. A worker who doesn't check the cameras regularly won't notice someone siphoning fuel from another customer's car until it's already done. A worker who doesn't track how long a vehicle has been idle might miss someone who's passed out or in medical distress. A worker who doesn't maintain visibility of the lot creates opportunities for misunderstandings that could have been avoided. The consequences aren't dramatic. They're operational. A station that consistently manages its night shift routines well keeps its regular customers. Truck drivers know which stations are efficient and which ones waste their time. Late-night commuters know which stations feel managed and which ones feel abandoned. A station that doesn't manage these routines loses reliability. Customers stop coming. Regulars find alternatives. Revenue drops during hours that should be predictable. Night workers also face consequences from their own routines. Workers who stay too alert burn out quickly. Workers who relax too much miss things they should have caught. The balance is learned over time, not taught. Fuel stations don't fundamentally change at midnight. The infrastructure is the same. The products are the same. What changes is the logic workers use to decide what matters. During the day, customer service drives decisions. At night, visibility and predictability drive them. Most customers never notice these patterns. They pump gas, they pay, they leave. But the workers managing the space are operating inside a framework that makes sense only when you're the one watching the lot alone. These patterns aren't about fear. They're about efficiency in an environment where fewer variables makes each one more important. That's how night shifts work.